best experience you ever had with somebody growing up? You only met them one time. Athlete, actor, musician. Let's do positive to start. Or would you rather do negative? Because my negative was I went to a spring training game in Arizona, and I went to see the San Francisco Giants. My dad wanted me to go see Willie Mays, and I think I was 8 years old. I yelled at Willie Mays to sign my program as he's coming in from the outfield to go into the dugout, and I'm right by the dugout, and he didn't sign my program, obviously. And during the game, it's a casual, relaxed atmosphere. I held that against Willie Mays for probably 40 years. For that, that's the only reason. Like, oh, yeah, basket catch, big deal.
And unlike most people who have this experience, you got to meet him while you were a professional, and he probably obviously knew who you were.
Yeah.
Did it come up?
No.
Did you want it to come up?
No, because he's not going to remember it. He's not going to go, hey, you look like the kid who was 8 years of age who was dumb enough to ask me for my autograph. Yeah, that was me. But I held this against Willie Mays for 40 years. And I'd be like, I'm a Hank Aaron guy. I'm not a Willie Mays guy. And I remember going, how stupid is this? He didn't sign my program when I was 8. Anybody have positive, negative? Seton, you got anything?
I remember one time there was like a charity basketball game at my high school / elementary school, St. Mary's.
Yeah.
And a bunch of the New York Giants came to town.
Yeah.
And they were like one basketball team, and then it was like teachers, parents, students were the other one. And I think it was Pepper Johnson. Remember the linebacker?
Yeah. Ohio State?
I think it was him. I'm just going to name him because I love the name. But I think it was him. I was a towel boy for the game, and I was standing on a chair. Me and my cousin were swinging the towels.
Not the first time you've been a towel boy.
Accurate. And I just remember, I think it was him looking up at me and being like, stop, man. Sit down. And we're like, oh, okay. So we had to sit down.
So you got yelled at.
He didn't yell, but he was just kind of like, basically wasn't shy about telling us how annoying we were being.
How about you, Marv? Got one?
Ray Allen. Ray Allen was great when I was 11. Met him randomly at the Hartford Civic Center.
Yeah.
For a UConn game my mom was working, and he couldn't have been nicer. And I was already a big fan, and I was like, he's the greatest person who's ever lived, bar none.
And he still is.
Oh, yeah, even more so.
Yeah.
Even he invited me to the parade, not on the float, but he invited me to the parade.
Paulie?
I got a couple positive ones. Remember these are not high-end athletes, but remember Kevin Butler, the kicker for the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, Butthead.
We were at a restaurant. I was probably 14. Now, I was a monstrous Bears fan at the time, and we ran into outside a restaurant, and I go, oh my gosh. And I go, can I get an autograph? And I had like a takeout menu from a Chinese restaurant, I swear, in my hand. And I didn't have a pen because I was so dumb. He goes, yeah. He goes, hold on a second. And he ran back into the restaurant, asked the lady for a pen, came back outside and signed it. And all his friends were like, we got to go. The other one was we got to go on like a cruise when I was in 6th grade. And all the Oakland Raiders were there. When they won the Super Bowl in 1980, all the players got a free cruise. So on our cruise was about a third of the Oakland Raiders football team. Mm-hmm. Like Matt Millen and all these different guys. Ray Guy, the Hall of Fame punter, was there. And we all were bothering Ray Guy, a bunch of us 10-year-olds, because we knew who he was. He's pretty famous. He went and threw the football around with us on the beach and punted to us for about an hour on a beach. And we just thought it was the coolest thing. He took pictures. And he's a punter, but it was like all of a sudden, he was already my favorite punter, but that cemented it.
It's not the same as Joe Montana throwing you passes.
No.
When Ray Guy is punting, it's not as intimate. It's like, yeah, go down there about 50 yards.
And my catching skills, it was just skipping off my jaw.
And you got one good eye there. Yes, Todd.
They let you bring the helium container on the ship like that? I'm surprised they would confiscate that.
What is that?
The Ray Guy reference. He was accused of putting helium in his football for a longer hang time and distance.
You're not going to hurt my hero that
Yeah.
Not on my watch.
Yeah.
He was nice to me.
Did you have any experiences, Todd?
When
you left Mommy's apartment?
I had wonderful experiences as a kid meeting Ed Kranepool of the Mets and Randy Rasmussen of the Jets. But I find out like years later that it's because they were at a mall and they were paid to sign things and be nice. And I had Ed Kranepool's autograph on a little Spalding.
Wait, okay, hold on. Did you think
I thought they were there for me.
Did you think that Ed Kranepool and Randy Rasmussen were just there at the mall?
They found out that Todd was coming.
Like walking around?
they were doing me a special favor, and there just happens to be a bunch of other kids online also that they just like, okay, I'm here for Todd, but for the rest of them, I guess I'll sign this for them. But Ed Kranepool and Randy Rasmussen, very nice, and maybe it was phony because they were getting paid, but it was still very nice.
Yeah. I'm sure that they were phony nice. They could have been really nice people, but they were getting paid.
And Randy was a photo, like a nice photo with the signature, and Kranepool was able to sign the ball.
What is it about the negative experiences that stick in our minds so much rather than the positive ones? Because like you were like, hey, name a time that you met somebody, and all I can think of is all of these embarrassing moments that I'm like, oh man.
Well, I remember when I met Pete Maravich when he got inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, and he was not nice, and didn't want to sit down. Yeah, didn't want to sit down for an interview. But even then,
he wasn't important to you or anything.
No, he was not. No,
growing up, so it's not.
But it was one of those where I go, damn, you don't want to meet your heroes sometimes. He didn't want to do an interview. He just was. He was difficult, and I thought, no, you're Pete Maravich. No, come on, I'm some little snot-nosed guy at CNN, and I came all the way up to Springfield to interview you, and he wasn't engaging at all. Yeah, Paul.
But it would be fair to say that one of your dad's heroes and your heroes, Jerry West, was quite the opposite.
Oh my gosh,
he outlived it. Remember, I was just talking to someone the other day, and they were asking him something about the show, and I said, we did the 10th anniversary show at DirecTV, and we came up with the idea, and Fritzy got a hold of Jerry West to have him surprise you on the show at 8 a.m. He shows up looking like $1 million. And I can remember the look on your face. You could barely keep it together. You had about 10 seconds where you couldn't speak.
Well, you kept saying, oh, they're bringing a cake over, and, Jerry's Cakes of Torrance or something.
That's a great name.
And all of a sudden in the shadows, I could see, it was like this illumination of a figure. And he had gold, like a sweater on. I mean, he looked unbelievable, right out of a catalog. And I'm looking over, I'm going, damn, that guy, like there's almost like this religious feel to him. And he stepped out of the shadow, and I go, oh my gosh, Jerry West with a cake. And the fact that he surprised everybody, and I was blown away. But Al Michaels is there, and Al, of course, isn't bothered by anything. He's like, hey, Jerry. Hey, Al. And I'm going, hi, Jerry. How are you? And then he sat down, and every time I looked at him, I saw my father. And it was one of those, get your act together, dude. And I was having a hard time with it because that's Jerry West. I saw Jerry West in 1972 play for the Lakers. Jerry West is right here. I'm going, oh, my God.
But he outdid it. Like, he was better than expected.
Yes. Yes, Todd.
And what does it say to all those athletes? I'm not going to name them because I'm not sure exactly who they are anyway, but there are far less accomplished sports figures that don't want to be bothered, and they're surly, and the last thing they want to do is spend any time signing anything for a kid, and that's very unfortunate.
Thank you, Todd.
I look at the opposite way. I appreciate the good ones. Like, it seems like Steph Curry is generally a beloved athlete, and I watch these pregame warm-ups things. He's throwing it to the ball boy. He's out in the crowd by the concession stand areas, and he's throwing the ball, and people are showing up to watch Steph Curry warm up. And he gives them the show that they want beyond the show of the game. And he does it. He could have stopped doing that 5 years ago. He's 33 years old or whatever he is, and he's still doing it. He puts on a show for the fans. He gives you your money's worth, and he gives you, a semi-personal experience.
I always feel like it takes more energy to be negative than it does to be positive. And, one day it all ends. One day nobody cares. But in that moment, you're like, oh, God, last thing you want to do is shake somebody's hand, take a picture, sign an autograph.